Test thing like currently we are centered on Eunice. We're looking at society being peeled back. Let's look at this. One area. All these buildings here. $25,000 billion deaths. 40% of those killed children. Quarter of them killed are women. Rest elderly men of serving age. 6,500 people have been arrested in the occupied West Bank. October 7th. Since October 7th, there have been 25,000 women, men, and children killed. Varying ages, any age really. Our seeing and hearing is true. Israel does not see any innocent civilians in this conflict. This is something that I thought of in Abu al-Shaykh. I thought I had push and play. Green Abu Akla, journalist, broadcaster, like Titan. The United States has the bullet, apparently. You can say that was the bullet that was fired that caused this horrible condition people to be in. Running water, no working sewage, no roofs over the head. You're saying these are too structurally unsound to stay in? Or it's a hospital and there's already 5,000 people. What does Israel think the West Bank is going to happen in the West Bank? Another 25,000 people die. What is this? 40% of those killed children. They had nothing to do with any of this. Anything, children always suffer the most. Conflict. Displacement of Ukrainian children as well. Not forget. Russian aggression. Many millions of people have been evacuated, gone to other states. Their future won't be as bright as it was. Russia didn't invade Ukraine and they were allowed life as Ukrainian would. But it just dashed the hopes of hundreds of thousands of lives. And we're seeing it again. That they're not given time to evacuate. They're told where to evacuate, but by the time you reach there on foot, it might not be safe there anymore. It's being peeled back. Probably make it easier for to be on foot, buildings around. That's why bulldoze this area. I don't think Israel would even search for bodies with bulldoze at all. People aren't able to use their hands to dig for their loved ones. Too much weight, too heavy. A lot of people and a lot of strength. Even then, lifting a 400-pound piece of stone and a bunch of people, like, it's insane. It's insanity. Now that we're getting 2 plane loads of aid, they'll probably go to Rafah. How would it be dispersed? AIDS, aid isn't replacement for missed meals, missed medication doses, diabetes, anything like that. And this is brokered by Qatar, and France. Limited supply of aid deal will be 2 plane loads of aid. As long as Israeli captives are given medications. As long as Israeli captives are given medication. That is, the deal has been brokered by Qatar and France for Israel and Hamas, not Israel and Palestine. Israel and Hamas. Palestinian Authority. I don't think Israel would even consider anything they would say. This is a lot of heat. This is hot. Get a lot of people together huddled for warmth inside of a building, and they're hit with a missile, hit with a shell, artillery round. 60 people right there in a house gone. This happened so many times already. And the only other time I've seen 60 people in a house and a missile hit it, then Russia's aggression on Ukraine. It's hard not to see the similarities between the two wars as they are going on simultaneously, even though that the war in Ukraine has been going on for several years. Officially, is a war when they officially invaded Russia. Invaded 5 days that it would take to conquer Kiev. 200,000 dead Russian soldiers later, and I know that number is very, very low. Not counting, I'm not even going to speculate or talking about Russia. We're talking about terror tactics that Russia employs on civilians. That's what we're seeing Israel do. Are children Hamas? Are women Hamas? Are only men of serving age? These women and children, do they understand? Are they just trying to find their loved ones? They understand the terrible, terrible actions over some. If Israeli captives were actually paraded around in the Gaza Strip, and they were kind of look at what we got here, that I haven't seen confirmed. Pretty revolting behavior. This is insanity. Let's come down here. This is Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, before you get to Rafah, the Egyptian border crossing. If you have never seen the Egyptian border crossing, it is insane. There's no crossing that wall. This is a hit right here in the center of this, in Khan Yunis. This is a strike. Definitely a big, billowing black plume of smoke. I'll let it play for a minute. It's insanity. How many hostages have been killed by indirect fire by Israel Defense Forces? How many people were killed on October 7th that were Israeli before they were captured, brought over on bike? Hearing real horror stories, what the captives are experiencing on both sides, but not a contest. I don't know if it is to them. And treat their prisoners the worst. Ukrainian, I believe, have treated their prisoners the absolute best considering the circumstances. POWs come out healthy looking. Ukrainian POWs come out formed. No fixing it. We're seeing Israel do Gaza. It's absolutely hammering thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, with precise munitions, shells. Where does it end? They're gonna slow down the airstrikes. Like, oh, okay, we'll slow it down. From what? To what? Would Israel even care if they killed one of their own people, one of the hostages, in these airstrikes? It happened, and it's still, strikes are still going on. This is insanity. This limited deal death toll officially rises 15 hours ago to 24,285. It's been 15 hours since that, so I think it's safe to say there's been 25,000 dead now. Ayman Safadi, Jordan's foreign minister, says Israel is placing many hurdles to the entry of aid into Gaza that were worsening the dire situation of his residents. In comments made during a news conference with his Australian counterpart, Badi said these obstacles resulted in covering only 10% of total needs of more than 2 million Palestinians in Gaza under siege. We don't want to migrate to Sinai in Egypt or anywhere else. I only want to return home. That's what we were saying is people want to go home. Their homes aren't going to be there anymore. We have over 70% of residences in the Gaza Strip now rendered uninhabitable. That's Gaza Strip is uninhabitable by now. There's just debris everywhere. There are blast marks from rockets, from artillery shells exploding. Here is what happened today. Qatar brokered a deal between Israel and Hamas to bring aid and medicine into Gaza in exchange for providing medicine to Israeli captives held in the enclave. The World Food Program, UNICEF, and the World Health Organization calls for opening new entry routes to Gaza to avert widespread famine and disease. Palestinian death toll has risen to at least 24,285. That figure was from 15 hours ago when it was breaking, so it is safe to assume that there has been more killed. Israel's new $15 billion war budget and its implications for the war in Gaza. So Qatar brokered a deal to bring medicine and aid into Gaza in exchange for the provision of medicine to captives held in the enclave. As the White House says, the U.S. has been involved in serious captive talks in Doha. Israeli bombardment on Gaza killed at least 158 people in the past 24 hours, according to the latest figures by Health Ministry. 25,000 civilians dead. 40% of those were children. 10,000 children. 6,000 women killed. 100 journalists assassinated. Hundreds of medical workers, aid workers killed. Now, about this 2 plane loads of aid heading to Gaza, it says by Wednesday it should be shipped out. Trucks and only 2 plane loads of aid. That's 2 million people. No. Limited aid. Very, very specific area that Israel is telling people is safe. Rafah. Still starving. Still cold. Still missing their families. have lost 10, 11 people, one family. It's a nightmare. Nightmare that Israel can't pull back out of. Now they're firing shots into Lebanon. This is getting scary. This is getting to be more than just why isn't Joe Biden doing anything about it? Kidding me? Kidding me? You have no idea. Trump were president, there would be no back talking. Yeah. Yeah, sure, do whatever you want. All this evil against brown people. If you haven't already, please like the stream and subscribe to the channel. It helps me out immensely. Currently being on further news about these 2 plane loads of aid heading to Gaza. Vacation for Israeli captives. $25,000 dead civilians. October the 7th. 40% were women. 40% were children. 10,000. Quarter of them were women. 40% of those killed children. 40%. 40%. 25,000 people. Children. Knew that these children were here. There, were everywhere. Killed with their families. This massacre. This genocide. We're seeing genocide unfold. Nothing on our side is going to fix it. We say, hey, Israel, stop doing this or we'll stop giving you aid or weapons. They die. They get overrun by their enemies. How do we do this? How do we allow Israel to have a balancing act of human rights violations? I guess it's kind of no surprise that we want the least controversial agreement when it comes to Hamas and Israel. The deal that is being brokered is 2 plane loads of medicine and aid, as long as the Israeli captives are given medical aid while captive. Strange agreement, not a ceasefire agreement by any means. And by the time this aid actually gets to where it needs to go, some 1,000 more people will be dead, at least. Israel has been saying that there are no innocent civilians. If that's the case. Children do. 10,000 children that are not dead do. Throw rocks and stones? A kid will be able to throw a grenade like that? The horror story unfolding for everyone to see. Just that there's aid going in there now doesn't mean that aid is going to be dependable. Because let's say another factor that plays into, we would say, is aid. A lot of the food products that they're bringing into Gaza are dehydrated. They need clean water to be able to use the food. Right there, they're screwed. They're given dehydrated food products with no access to clean drinking water. It just seems appallingly evil. We know that you have no running water, but here's a bunch of food that requires a great deal of water, considering what you have available to make. And just ramen noodles. Pretty incredible. $25,000 civilian deaths. 10,000 children. 1,000 are women. Over 100 journalists in Gaza have been killed. Hundreds of medical aid. Hundreds of medical workers and aid workers have been killed. Israel said they're going to slow down bombings in the West Gaza. Just running low on targets. I don't trust anything they say at this point when it comes to what they want done. From bring them home to let Israel finish the job to stop the genocide. Always stop the genocide. Never not about stopping. This has always been slow death. You're in a prison city. You're not allowed to venture outside these borders. You're not allowed to fish. What are you doing outside that area? These are some really harrowing shots. It's unbelievable. here. Train your eyes to look, see what gets missed. Next scans is building here, building there, and then block.
Это взял! Есть русские.
Thank you for watching.